Hi, everyone. My name is Haley Box, and I am an attorney with Legal Aid Center of Southern Nevada. Specifically, the department I work for is the Legal Service Fund. And so we represent Culinary and Bartenders Union members with a variety of legal issues. So today we're going to be talking about unemployment compensation and overpayment. And this will be recorded so that you can access this at any time if you have any you need to look stuff up, or if you want to come back to this to get information you may have missed. This recording will be available to you. So again, we're going to talk about unemployment and overpayments today. I'm going to go through the PowerPoint presentation. And please feel free to call us at any time if you have, if you receive any notices from the unemployment office, or you have got an overpayment notice, or if you just have general questions about unemployment in general. Okay. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is a little bit about what the Legal Service Fund program is. It was launched in February of 2020. It is a partnership between the Culinary and Bartenders Unions and Legal Aid Center of Southern Nevada. We were created to provide members with legal information, consultations, and even full representation from Legal Aid Center attorneys, including myself, on a variety of legal issues. If you look to the left-hand side of the PowerPoint presentation, you'll see the areas that we assist with. So we do assistance with IRS tip compliance, a variety of immigration issues. We do consultations for bankruptcy. We do consultations and advice for consumer issues. This can include debt collection issues, or credit issues, or mechanic issues, contractor issues, anything kind of in that realm. We also do family law information. We do family law information only, so we don't do any representation for family law, but we do give out. We can sign you up for an Ask a Lawyer. We can give you the documents that you need to file for divorce or custody or paternity, or any of those types of things in the family law arena. We also assist with tenants' rights and evictions. So if you are being evicted, if you are at risk of eviction, if you're having issues with your landlord, if your rent has been raised, you can give us a call, and we can give you advice or assistance in regards to those issues. We also assist with sealing criminal records. And estate planning is a big part of what we do. We draft wills, we draft powers of attorney, we do deeds upon death, we do healthcare directives. So, and if you want to get your estate in order, we can assist you with that. And we also do what we're covering today, which is unemployment compensation. So if you were out of work during the pandemic and you received unemployment compensation and have subsequently received some sort of overpayment, or you're having issues with the unemployment office in regards to unemployment you received during the pandemic, we assist with those issues as well. All services and legal assistance, legal advice, representation, all of it is free to qualifying members. So all you have to do is give us a call, and we will check your eligibility to make sure that you are eligible for our grant. And if you are, then you get all of the services from us for free. To apply for services, the best way to do it is to call us. Our number is 702-386-1550, or you can email us at lsf@lacsn.org. We promptly check that email and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. All right, so we're going to move on into unemployment compensation and overpayment. So just kind of some general tips when you're applying for unemployment. These are some things that surprise people on occasion, and so I like to go over them and just kind of give you some tips for how to what to do when you're applying for unemployment assistance. So the biggest thing that I like to tell people is to read the unemployment handbook or manual. It's available on the website at ui.nv.gov. And if you go under for claimant, it will be available as a PDF, and you can print it off and you can read it. There is a step-by-step filing guide. There is the manual, which explains kind of the rules of applying for unemployment compensation. And when you're applying for unemployment benefits, you will have to check a box in the application that says that you have read and understand the unemployment handbook or manual. And that can cause a lot of issues if you haven't read it, because it does explain in detail how to do a lot of things. And so if you do it incorrectly, you've checked the box that said that you read and understood it. So a lot of the times that leaves you in the wrong if there is a dispute about or question about how you did something when you were applying for benefits. And it could land on the side of the department because you were supposed to read the manual. So be sure to do that, at least glance through it before you start working on your application. When you are applying for benefits after you complete your application, you need to file your weekly claim every single week. So if you forget, you need to make sure that that's getting done. So you need to remind yourself, because it is really hard to get DETR to go back and give you money for a claim that you missed. If you're applying by phone, you're going to call in every Sunday to file your weekly claim over the phone. Or if you are doing it online, which is what I recommend, through your online portal, it will show up on your account and it will say File Weekly Claim. And you can click on that and you should be able to file it pretty much any day for that week until the following Sunday. But you know, the sooner that you file, the better. So it will become available on the Sunday of the week that you have finished working. Because when you apply on that Sunday, it's for the previous week, and you should be able to file your weekly claim. So as soon as you file it, the sooner you file it, the sooner you'll get paid your benefits for that week. So just don't forget to file your weekly claims, even if you're not actively receiving your unemployment benefits, because there's an adjudication issue or it's under review or anything like that. You should still be filing your weekly claims every single week, even if you're not getting money. And that way, when they do make a decision as to whatever's holding up your benefits, you will get back pay for those weeks that you filed. The biggest and most important thing that you have to do while you are receiving unemployment benefits is report any income received every week that you file a claim for benefits. This includes vacation pay, severance pay, gross income earned, and any tips. So if you receive tips, you have to do everything. This is not what you bring home. This is your gross income and any tips that you receive, plus any other types of pay. Like I said, vacation pay, severance pay, anything like that you receive during that week that you're applying for benefits. Do not guess on these amounts. You should do your best to report the actual amount that you have made. You can always review your time cards to make sure that you're putting in the correct amount, because this is the biggest cause of overpayments, is misreporting your earnings. And I'm talking, a few dollars can make a difference. And so you should always be accurately reporting every bit of gross income that you receive during the week that you are applying for benefits. Improperly or underreporting these earnings will result in a fraud, disqualification, and a potential overpayment. So it's very important that you always report your income from any source that you receive each week that you apply for benefits. The next thing that you have to do is you have to conduct a work search. This has to be done every single week. You have to record your work search activities when you're filing your weekly claim. So it is a part of the weekly claim process. You have to report where you applied, what you did when you were applying. Did you fill out an application? Did you email for a follow-up? Did you go to one of the job search places? Anything like that is acceptable for work search, but that is a mandatory requirement. You have to be doing a work search while you are on unemployment benefits. This is even if you are only underemployed, even if you are still technically employed, but let's just say it's slow, or you don't have the hours, or it's the off season and you're not getting as much work time, and so you are working kind of lower hours, but you're still making some income, just not enough to get you by. So you're applying for unemployment at the same time. Even if you were still employed, you have to do a work search, or some sort of training can also be substituted for the work search. But you have to make sure that you report all of those activities on your weekly claim every single week. The next thing that's important is to review your online portal. You need to do that regularly, and you need to promptly complete any fact-finding interviews. So anything that pops up in your account that asks you to answer further questions or to do some sort of give more information to the unemployment office, most of the time they will have a deadline attached. And so you need to check your portal often. I would say, at least once a week, if not more, and make sure that nothing has popped up that you need to complete. And if it does, then you need to promptly complete all of that so there's no, hang-ups in your benefits, so they won't cease your benefits, or it will help push through the adjudication needed in order for you to get paid if there's some sort of holdup. And the last thing is that if Dieter emails you or sends you correspondence in your online portal that is requesting any documents, you need to promptly either mail, email, or fax those to the unemployment office, because a lot of those requests have a 48-hour turnaround time. So you have to do that quickly. You have to act quickly in order to get everything in promptly so that it doesn't cause an issue with you. So the next thing we have here are some tips after applying. So that's kind of while you are applying, while you're making your weekly claims. This is after you apply. So again, you need to check your unemployment online portal regularly, and that's at ui.nv.gov. If there are any ID.me requirements, this is their sort of anti-fraud, authentication that they're using now. If there are any ID.me requirements, you have to complete those, or you will be locked out of your account, and then you won't be able to see whether or not Dieter is communicating with you, which is really important because you have to stay on top of all of that stuff. If you receive any mail, like snail mail, in your mailbox, or an email sent to you by Dieter, or you receive some sort of correspondence in your under your My Documents tab on your online portal, it's important that you open that promptly to see, either what they're requesting, or if they need more information, or if they need more documents, or if they're just sending you a determination or a decision. You need to open all of that promptly to see what's going on. Again, if they are requesting anything, you need to send that in as soon as possible. This could be pay stubs, it could be time cards, it could be a weekly breakdown, it could be a copy of your Social Security card, it could be a copy of your green card, it could be a copy of a lot of things. And failure to provide those documents can result in a disqualification and an overpayment. So it's important that you check all of those things regularly and provide anything that Dieter requests to them in as fast a manner as you can. If you receive a notice denying your unemployment benefit or a notice of overpayment, and you disagree with either of them, you must appeal those decisions within 11 days. Now, the decisions are going to come with the date that they send them. It's also going to come with a last day to appeal date. So you need to have your appeal in before the date that's on the notice. And if there is no date on the notice, then it is 11 calendar days from the date that you receive it. So just remember that if you receive some sort of disqualification or overpayment, 11 days to appeal that decision if you disagree with it. If you receive either of these notices, like a disqualification for some reason or an overpayment decision saying that you owe money to Dieter, please contact Legal Aid Center immediately, and we can kind of help walk you through the process. We have templates for appeal letters. We have templates for weekly breakdowns, and we can kind of like guide you through the process and to get all the things needed into Dieter that they're requesting. All right, so we're going to talk about overpayment specifically. So once you've received a denial of benefits and a notice of overpayment, what do you do then? So it says if Dieter has determined that you're not eligible for benefits, you will receive a non-monetary determination. Now this will either come in the mail, it will come in your through correspondence on your online portal under My Documents. It will specifically state non-monetary determination, and if you're checking online, it will have like adjudication out beside it. The non-monetary determination states why they are denying the benefits, and oftentimes it will come with like weeks that they are disqualifying you. Now, they may be disqualifying you from everything you received. In that case, it won't have any like specific weeks. But if they're disqualifying you for specific weeks for specific reasons, they will tell you which weeks and how much they're going to disqualify you for and why. So you'll have an understanding about, why you owe money back to the unemployment office. Even if you disagree, you'll have an idea about what the unemployment office is, why they're saying that you owe money. Let's see here. If you've also been overpaid, because not every non-monetary decision or disqualification comes with an overpayment notice. Most of them do right now because a lot of they're really backlogged. So these are benefits they've already paid out, and so oftentimes they're accompanied by an overpayment notice, but that's not always the case. It depends upon, how old your disqualification is. However, if they've determined you've been overpaid and that you owe them money, they will also send out what's called a notice of overpayment. And it will be like a BCP, which is like an acronym for the Benefits and Integrity Department. They handle all overpayments. This will either be mailed to you, or it will also show up in your under your My Documents tab in your online portal, just like your non-monetary determination. And generally, if there's a determination, it will be accompanied by an overpayment notice if there is an overpayment. So the overpayment will be directly related to the non-monetary determination that tells you why, and then the overpayment notice tells you how much. Speaking of like pandemic denials and overpayments, which is what we're dealing with mostly, most benefit denials and overpayments that occurred during the pandemic between 2020 and 2021 are related to unreported or improperly reported earnings or failure of the claimant to provide requested documentation. I would say that's probably like 95% of the overpayments. It's either improperly reported earnings or failure to provide documentation requested by the year. Oftentimes these can be remedied, especially the failure to provide documents can be remedied by providing the missing documentation or doing a weekly breakdown of your earnings to show Dieter that in fact you weren't overpaid. So, if you receive an overpayment, don't worry, that's not necessarily the final number, or you may not even owe anything. But we will have to like work with you to get the documents needed in order to send them to Dieter to see if they will recalculate or even get rid of that overpayment. Once you receive a denial of benefits and an overpayment, you will have 11 days to appeal both of those. Again, it's 11 days. It's 11 days for everything. Again, there may be a date at the top of the overpayment notice and your non-monetary determination saying like what the last day to appeal is. If it's not there, then it is 11 days, 11 calendar days, not 11 business days. If you fail to appeal within that timeline, you can waive all of your appeal rights and be responsible for the full amount of the overpayment, even if you don't actually owe it. So be sure to appeal if you receive any sort of determination. And again, if you come to us, we have appeal templates and other things that we can give you to help you, get that appeal in and preserve your administrative appeal rights through the unemployment office. So to the left-hand side over here, this is kind of like a breakdown of like what you do once you receive an overpayment notice or some sort of non-monetary adjudication determination disqualifying you from receiving benefits, which is often accompanied by an overpayment. So what we usually do is we have you appeal first because the deadline is 11 days, and so that can be really quick. And so we can provide you with an appeal letter template that can be changed according to what your situation is. We usually recommend you upload that to your online portal and then also fax it in to the fax number that's at the top of the notice that you received. The next thing we do is we have you request your time cards from your employer. This is the daily record of how many hours you worked and how much you made every day. Because Dieter requires a Saturday to Sunday breakdown, a weekly breakdown. Most people don't get paid on that schedule, and so your pay stubs are not going to work. But we usually request pay stubs as well to submit to Dieter. But the time cards are going to be really important in getting that weekly breakdown done to send to Dieter so they can see how much you made every single week because they pay you on a weekly basis. Once you receive your time cards, you're going to complete the weekly breakdown. We can assist with that as well. And then we submit those documents to Dieter. And then we wait. We have to wait for them to either get rid of the overpayment, to rescind the disqualification if you didn't do anything wrong, or they could potentially reduce the amount of the overpayment that you received if it was only partially correct. But there is a lot of waiting for that, and it can take weeks or months to get those back, depending upon how backlogged Dieter is at that time. So you can wait on that new decision, and most of the time, if we submit the documents, Dieter will come back with a new decision. If you disagree with the new decision, again, you're going to appeal again, and then at that point, you're going to wait for an appeal hearing date to be set, and that's where you can argue your case in front of a referee. And that's when you are able to present evidence to show why you shouldn't be disqualified or why you should not have to pay back this overpayment or why you don't owe the overpayment. Once the telephonic hearing is set, you'll attend the telephonic hearing. This is really important that you bring any evidence that you have. You have to build your record because this is your only chance to build your record, is at that telephonic appeal hearing. If you disagree with the referee's decision on the telephonic hearing, you'll appeal it up to the Board of Review. If the Board of Review refuses to review it anymore, then you can file a petition for judicial review. But then after all of that has been exhausted, you could potentially apply for an overpayment waiver, which is an option. And that is available online through the unemployment website as well. So the next thing we're going to talk about is like the specifics of the unemployment appeal process. I kind of covered it briefly just now. We're going to go over it again one more time just so you have a good idea about how it works. So when you receive that denial or overpayment notice, got to get your appeal letter in within 11 days. It doesn't have to be anything super, extensive. It really is just going to say, I received this letter on this day. I disagree with the decision and I want an appeal hearing. It's going to be very basic. You don't have to explain, all the details in your appeal letter, because that's what you're going to get to do at your telephonic hearing with the referee. So once you appeal, you'll be working administratively in there as well to try to get it solved without a hearing. But if this was like a straight process, the next thing that would happen was, once you appealed, you would receive a hearing date for that telephonic hearing. This is the first level of appeals for the unemployment office. This hearing is the most important because it is the only chance you get to build your administrative appeal record. So if you end up having to go to court, the only thing that the judge can review is the administrative record. And so this telephonic hearing is where you build your record. So what you say is recorded, so be sure to give clean and concise answers as best as possible, and complete answers. Be sure to explain yourself. Be sure to explain, what happened, or how much, why, the numbers don't match up. And then all of this needs to be accompanied by evidence. So you'll need to have pay stubs. You'll need to have time cards. You'll need to get all of this stuff and submit it to the unemployment office 48 hours before your hearing. And they'll provide you an email where you can do that on your notice of hearing, where you can send in all of the exhibits that you'll be using to prove that you should not be disqualified and you shouldn't have to pay back an overpayment. So usually who attends the telephonic hearings are the referee, which is essentially the judge, the person that's going to be making the final decision as to whether to uphold the disqualification or to overturn it and get rid of the overpayment. So they'll ask you lots of questions. It's not a court of law, so it's very informal. You don't have to jump through any hoops to get any evidence in. It's just, you'll be answering a lot of questions by the referee. You'll be presenting your own evidence, and you'll also have your own, your own verbal testimony that will be part of the record. Once the hearing has taken place, everything has, been said and recorded and everything, the referee will make a decision. It can come as soon as the next day, or it could be up to 14 or 20 days, depending upon, how complicated the decision may be. After that decision is made by the referee on the telephonic hearing, the claimant, which is you, can either accept that decision, or you can appeal to the Board of Review, which is the next step. So the Board of Review is not, you're not going to be able to submit further evidence to the Board of Review. It's just the Board of Review is just going to look at what happened at the telephonic hearing and decide whether or not that referee made an arbitrary or capricious decision, or they abused their discretion and they interpreted the law incorrectly. If the Board of Review believes that this has happened, they'll send it back down to the telephonic level again and have it reset for a new hearing. However, the majority of our cases, when we appeal to the Board of Review will just decline further review. So they basically are like, we're just going to uphold the determination of the referee. We can't really see any reason that they abused their discretion. We're going to decline any further review, and we're just going to uphold that decision. If that is the case, then your only option at that point is to do what we call a petition for judicial review, which is where you basically file a lawsuit, a petition in the district court. So it's going to come out of the unemployment office who handle the administrative hearings, and it's going to go to a judge in a courtroom. And that judge is going to be limited to the administrative record, which is what you built at the time of your telephonic hearing. That's why it's so important to make sure that you attend that hearing and you present any evidence that you have as to why you shouldn't be disqualified and why you should not have to pay the overpayment back. Because once it gets in front of a judge, the judge is just going to look at the record. And then, if you have an attorney, the attorney is going to make arguments, obviously, but those arguments will have to be confined to what is contained in the administrative record that was provided to the judge by the unemployment office. And that is, the recording of the telephonic hearing and any evidence documents that were received at the time of that telephonic hearing. And then the judge will make the decision as to whether or not the disqualification and overpayment is to remain, or if that decision was made erroneously by the unemployment office, and therefore needs to either be overturned or remanded back for a new hearing on the administrative appeal level, back to the telephonic level. If this is kind of the end of the process, so if the judge says that you are in fact liable for the overpayment and will have to pay it back and were correctly disqualified, then really the only option you have left at this point is to file an overpayment waiver. Now, overpayment waivers are not available to those who the unemployment office has deemed to fraudulently misreported their earnings. And pretty much right now, if they are getting you on unreported earnings, they're saying it's fraudulent, even if it's done by mistake. And so a lot of people are not eligible to apply for those overpayment waivers. However, if the overpayment was, at the fault of the department or was done, in a way that was not your fault, then it can also be waived at that point. But the overpayment waivers are 100% at the discretion of the department, the unemployment office, and so you're kind of at their mercy at that point. So you can apply for the waiver and see if it works. It may or may not work. It never hurts to try. But again, it is very much at the discretion of the unemployment office as to whether they will waive that overpayment. And you usually have to prove extreme hardship, that if you had to pay back this money, it could really damage your stability and your ability to live essentially and pay your bills. So again, if you receive a denial of benefit and or an overpayment paid to you during the pandemic, which is 2020 through 2021, if it's due to unreported earnings, failure to submit documents, or some other issue, be sure to contact Legal Aid Center Southern Nevada for assistance. Again, our number is 702-386-1550, or you can email us at lsf@lacsn.org. Again, 702-386-1550, or lsf@lacsn.org. If you'd like more information or an electronic copy of our appeal template or an electronic copy of our weekly breakdown template, please sign up with us after this presentation. For those of you who are viewing this on, online, be sure to contact us at the either the phone number or the email that I mentioned above. But if you are joining us in person for this presentation, you can come up to us after and we will get your contact information and we will provide you with those documents. And the last is questions. So again, if you have any questions and you're viewing this online, if you have an overpayment notice or you have a disqualification or you just have questions about unemployment in general, please do not hesitate to call us. Again, all of our services are free for members who qualify. If you're a member of the Culinary 226 or the Bartenders 165, we're here to assist you with not only unemployment and overpayment services, but also a variety of other legal issues that I mentioned before. So, if you know somebody who's struggling with something like this, or you know somebody that may need some legal assistance, or if you yourself, or if you're a shop steward and you know some of your members that work with you that need some help, please send them to us. We want to help as many people as possible. This is a really wonderful perk of your union membership because it's sort of like your health care. Like you get, your awesome health care where you also get free legal assistance. And we're here to assist as many people as we can. And so if you have questions about our program or you have questions about a specific legal issue you may be having, again, please contact us. That number is 702-386-1550. And so I really look forward to assisting you with, your variety of legal issues and so please reach out anytime you may need us, and we're here to help. So I hope you have a good day. And again, if you're dealing with anything that, even if you think it may be kind of outside of what we do, please don't hesitate to give us a call. We'll direct you in the right direction because we also do referrals. Thank you and have a wonderful day.